Professor Vinay Kumar Pathak, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, distinguished dais, distinguished faculty, my young friends. It's a very special pleasure, great honor and a great privilege to be amongst you. All this was made possible because of the gracious invitation by our Honorable Vice Chairman for me to be bestowed the honor of becoming an alumnus of this great university, which I will tomorrow. So sir, first of all, I want to thank you for the honor that is done to me. Secondly, I must also say that it's always great to come back to Lucknow, by the way. I used to come very often when I was DG of CSI. We have 4 laboratories here, as you know, CDRI, NBRI, CMAP and ITRC. And after a long while, I'm coming back. It's a great city of learning, of culture, of academic excellence, and whole range of things. And pleasure is even tripled, I would say, and honor is tripled because this university is named after one of the greatest sons of India, the iconic Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. And I must say, standing here, I recollect the wonderful association I had with him. I had his blessings. He was a guide, a friend, a philosopher, a great guru, and I'll be reflecting on my association with him tomorrow in the convocation address, so I'll not basically repeat it. What I've chosen for as a theme of today's talk is how can India become a leader, not a follower, a leader in terms of science, technology and innovation globally. Okay, because it is time that we recapture that old glory. India was a great thought leader. As Honorable Vice Chancellor was taking us around, we saw those boards where the ancient wisdom, which was way, way, way ahead of the time, is displayed. And I'm delighted that is being done because young students need to know that everything has not come from the West. Actually, we had a fantastic sort of heritage. Now we have to recapture that equally. And therefore, I don't know how many of you have read my book, Reinventing India. I'm not talking about inventing India. I'm talking about reinventing India to its old glory. So how do we do that in modern times is what I'm going to talk about. I think to start with, let us say, education, research and innovation, they have to go hand in hand. When you do teaching, basically you are disseminating known knowledge. When you do research, you are creating new knowledge. And when you do innovation, you are converting knowledge into wealth and social good. So therefore, teaching, research and innovation, they have to go together. We cannot just be a teaching university or a research university. We have to be teaching, research and innovation university. All three have to go hand in hand. And from that perspective, my speech is also going to talk about, I'm going to address this particular issue of the changing times and the importance of each one of these. Let's start with education. There was a discussion on what is the greatest equation that scientists have produced. So somebody got up and said, of course, Newton's law, F equal to ma, force equal to mass into acceleration. The second student got up and said, no, it can't be that. It has to be E equal to mc square. E is energy, m is mass, and c is velocity of light. And I was sitting quiet there. Then somebody came and told me, look, you are not saying anything at all. What do you think is the greatest equation? And I remember saying that it is neither Newton nor Einstein. My equation would be E equal to F. So they wondered, what is E, what is F? I said, E is education and F is future. So therefore, I must congratulate you by saying that you are doing this difficult job of creating the future of this young India, who will create the future of new India. All right? So we are in this great, I would say, endeavor of creating future. I think that has to. Then you would say you are a scientist. So once you have given an equation, you have to prove it. So how do you prove it? So I would recall 11 March 2000 and Rashtrapati Bhavan. What happened on that day was the following. CAS-aktu was then the president, honored me and Ratan Tata with Padma Bhushan. Okay, you might find that there is nothing special about it. But that proves the power of the equation E equal to F. I'll tell you why. CAS-aktu, our president, was born in a very poor family. He had to walk kilometers to go to the school. His parents were so poor that they could not afford the tuition fee. So he would stand outside the class and eavesdrop on the lectures. Then he got a Tata scholarship and his life was changed. Okay? And then he rose and rose and rose and became president. In my own case, I was born in a very poor family, in a village, Mashelkar. That's how my name is Mashelkar. My father died when I was 6. My mother was illiterate. She came to Mumbai in search of jobs, and she actually did many jobs to get me educated. 2 meals a day was a big challenge. I walked barefoot until I was 12. I studied under street lights. I studied in a municipal school in Marathi medium, by the way, and had to go to the secondary school, and we required 21 rupees. My mother took 3 weeks to generate that 21 rupees by begging and borrowing. And I remember when I passed the SSC exam, secondary school certificate exam, it was 11th standard at that time, not 10th and 12th. Among 135,000 students in the state, I was 11th, basically. But still, I was going to leave education because I couldn't see my mother struggle, and I said I must work. But then came Tatas and gave me a scholarship, which was 60 rupees per month for 6 years. And that is why I studied, that is how I am studying here. So here is the proof of the equation. President Narayanan, who got a Tata scholarship, I, who got a Tata scholarship, he gives me the Padma Bhushan, but he also gives it to Ratan Tata, who gave us the scholarship, his family who gave us the scholarship. Do you see? We built our future because of the power of the equation E equal to F. Education is equal to F. There can't be a better proof than this, as a matter of fact. And therefore, the pursuit of education is extremely important. The times are changing now. I think the first thing I need to say, that times are changing. People talk about education 2.0. India has moved on the right to education. The issue is, from right to education, how do we move to right education? And right education has 2 meanings. One is right education where values are important and other things are important. You know, empathy, emotional intelligence, all these other human qualities are given importance, basically. That's very important. But also, education, I would say 3.0, not 2.0. It's also changing the character, because what was education 1.2? Guru Shishya. Guru sat there, and one-on-one there was a knowledge exchange. Guru was the repository of all knowledge, right? And therefore only a privileged few got access to education, right? Education 2.0 was mass education, assembly. A class of 30, class of 60, the teacher comes, writes on the blackboard, and the rest of it, etc. Now, education 3.0, and knowledge was in the libraries and so on and so forth. Today the situation has changed. I have a smartphone up there, and with 100 GB, actually I have the entire Pune library on my, right? So therefore, the digital disruption that is going to come, and we talk about this all the time, the new way of things will sort of happen, because old way of doing the chalk and talk with back to the students is all gone. The students will enter the class will be more enlightened, more informed than the teacher himself. Okay? So in that particular case, how do you actually deal with the new educational systems? I still remember recently I gave a talk to the 12th standard student on some of the research that I had done on what I call as stimuli responsive gels, gels which abruptly change their shape, size, and they are able to do something like magic, and that was declared. The abstract was given and so on and so forth in advance. And can you imagine the questions that the students asked me? 50% of them I could not answer, because all of them had gone through the literature and they were more enlightened, and they brought to me things that I did not answer. So I think that is going to be the challenge with education 3.0. Similarly, there is science 2.0, so as to say.